Earl said they need to get a win. We're the good luck charms. We're here, and we'll see if that will come to fruition. Inside the women's building, it's Syracuse and Virginia Tech. Schlichter will start it off and sails it out of play. Hokies are on the scoreboard first.
Unforced errors is something that Syracuse head coach Bakir Ganesharatnam talked to us about not only this week, but throughout the season, especially with all the injuries this team has faced right now. That can't happen to start a game.
Freshman to another freshman, Olivia Engel. Over to Schlichter. Quick set, Mira Liedermuller over to Shirley and Antonio. And Antonio, the go-to option for the Orange, has been so crucial throughout conference play.
She was a beast at Iowa Western, at JUCO, where she had over 700 kills in 2 seasons and 25 kills over the weekend. She continues to be the hot hand on the outside.
She gets force-fed 84 attempts last weekend alone. Alyssa Burt sends it over for Hughes. Great drop on that one. Borer sends it over near side and also digs it out. Liedermuller inside. Harris Waddy stuck up. Antonio sends it away, trying to go 2 for 2. And the Hokies have to have a free ball attempt. That doesn't go over. So Syracuse takes the early lead here, 2-1, inside their home building.
You mentioned inexperience would play a role in this game for both sides, not just Syracuse, but also Olivia Angel, a freshman on the floor. 15 underclassmen for the Hokies.
It's a young team, both teams looking to rebuild and get back to the top of the conference. That one barely goes out. Team leader Alyssa Burr is one of the more aggressive servers for the Orange.
And she's earned that right. She's one of the most experienced players on this team, and it's only her 2nd year with the Blue and Orange, the former Colorado State transfer.
Liana Rodriguez, first year with the program after being with the St. John's Johnnies. Antonio stuck up, what a block by Virginia Tech, and they're going to try to string along some points as they regain the lead.
That's Sydney Peterson. You talk about inexperience. She is anything but a Nevada transfer in her 2nd year with the Hokies, and she goes toe-to-toe with Antonio.
Well, congratulations to Sydney Peterson. That's her 1,000th point in her career with that block. Quick set by Borer, near side, going over the top. We highlighted her in the pregame, Leandra Manuel Duran. So dynamic. She has that power fastball, but also has the finesse game.
And again, I think that goes back to, like we talked about a few moments ago, her experience in the back line during her 4 years at Missouri. She approaches it a different way.
Rodriguez just won a gold medal this offseason, playing for her national team. Virginia Tech regroups. Far side again, another dynamic player on the pins, Elena Dupre. She's also probably the 1B option for the Hokies so far this season.
The good thing about Virginia Tech offensively right now is they don't run everything through one player. 4 different Hokies with 100-plus kills.
Coach Marcy Bears told us that they don't have that go-to player. They have to spread the ball around. It's not like it's Shirlene Antonio on Syracuse's side, because she knows that she's going to get the ball, and it doesn't matter.
Shirley and Antonio might not be in the same exact role if Syracuse was fully healthy, but there's no doubt about it. She has a special ability around the pins to do exactly that.
Here a Liedermuller, freshman setter for Syracuse. Boyer's back set, another hard hit. Dupre goes long. Syracuse right in the thick of things, and this is probably what you'd like to see if your head coach Bakir Ganesharatnam is just being in the thick of things early. They've had way too many sets where it's been a huge deficit to come back from. Liedermuller's jump float. A quick set by Borer, near side. Duran, one-hand hit by Searzan, and it'll go back to Virginia Tech.
Searzan, another one of these players for Syracuse, playing in a different role than usual. Typically a setter, her first year of collegiate volleyball, an outside hitter with all the injury issues that Coach Bake and his team have had to work through.
Dupre, a junior from Alexandria, Virginia, leads the team right now with 163 kills. Had 109 last year. That one also goes long. The Hokies, not really a dominant team in the ACC. As we take a look at head coach Marcy Bears, that was something that she also talked about, was controlling the service line, especially against a team like Syracuse.
She has seen teams go through struggles and make it to the light at the end of a tunnel. She did it with Radford, and now she's trying to do it with Virginia Tech.
Trying to go power 5, the great slide attempt in the middle by Peterson. Free ball attempt for Syracuse. Another back set, they'll try it again, dug out by Liedermuller. Borer near side, and that one off the face of Schlichter. Wow.
I wouldn't be smiling after that, but she is. coming at you.
Hard hit. Look at that replay. Oh, my.
Takes it like a champ. You got to just wash it down and forget about it. It's 1 point, but a ferocious one.
She soaked it, that's for sure. Schlichter stuck up, long run. It goes out of play. It's a kill nonetheless, and that's the type of grit that I think Coach Dana Sharatnam is looking for in Syracuse. Is if something doesn't go your way, you're right back to work and on the offensive.
Especially early on. The last set for Syracuse against Pitt, this team went down early and lost 25-6 on Sunday.
Another impressive freshman here, Zaria Harris-Waddy, leads the team in service aces, and she picks up a service error. Take another look at Coach Dana Sharatnam for Syracuse. Look at that record. I don't think it's indicative of how well he's tried to coach this team throughout a very difficult stretch in terms of injuries.
No, and we were talking to him a few days ago, and him just documenting how many key players are not available for his team right now. He's in it for the long haul.
Schlichter just taps it over. Borer got a finger on it. Antonio, easy dig, near side. Sierzant, looked like she called for a tip, didn't get it. Point Hokies.
Again, he's got a lot of young players that he's a big fan of. 9 additions to the Syracuse roster in the offseason, 5 freshmen. And those mistakes are going to happen.
Great serve. Liedermuller quick in the inside. Swapped over by McCabe. Tip by Sierzant. One-hand hit to Burke. Hokies back on the offensive. Set by the freshman Pierce. Free ball attempts. Second time those costly mistakes on the Virginia Tech side. Those free ball attempts, that's the easiest play in volleyball.
Virginia Tech has had opportunities to run away with this first set, and those self-inflicted errors. I mean, only a 25% hit rate right now, but Syracuse under 10.
Sierzant sends it over. Near side back to Pierce. Her fastball goes out of play. That's another player for the Hokies you have to keep your eye on, as Haley Pierce came out of the gates very strong early on this season and just had her first action last match against Clemson.
18 kills through her first 2 matches, and she's been sidelined since the second match of the year.
Sierzant, another great serve. Free ball attempt in the back row by Dupre. Slide attempt, Warren McCabe hitting the highest percentage, and it looks like it's going to continue to increase for the 5th-year middle, originally from Seattle. Great hustle on the Hokies side, even though they didn't get the point and we're tied up at 9.
And again, when you don't have the most natural talent, when you're not going to out-muscle teams, you have to out-will them.
Back near side, Pierce tipped off the tape. Originally, your Liedermuller thought maybe it went off the antenna, but Virginia Tech back with the lead. Coach Dana Sharatnam there, fresh cut. It was his birthday week, had it earlier, and National Coaches Day. He's feeling good. Here's Schlichter. Cross-court approach. Rodriguez with the dig. Dupre put a whole lot into that one. You could see her torque her body for that kill.
Yeah, a nice gift to Coach Ganesh Sharatnam and the Syracuse team to be back home to celebrate the birthday weekend, because it was a tough 4-game stretch on the road against 2 top 10 teams in the country.
This is Syracuse's just 3rd home match of the entire season. Early non-conference schedule and early part of conference play wasn't their friend. Neither was that hit by Haley Pierce, as both pins now for the Hokies are starting to find their groove.
And that's something that I know you highlighted before this match, is Virginia Tech's just got more near the pins than Syracuse does.
They have a lot of size. It's a 3-point lead, and we'll take a quick break. We're watching ACC College Volleyball on ACC Network Extra.
I know that.
The band is rocking inside the women's building for Alumni Weekend. Griffin Della Penna here with Ian Nicholas, and we also have one of the most impressive alumni in Syracuse history in Polina Shimanova. We'll talk about her in a little bit. Coming right out of the gates, 3-point lead for Virginia Tech against Syracuse. High bump set by Rodriguez. Stepping into that one was Haley Pierce, and coming out of the break, picking up right where they left off.
Pierce is a true freshman, coming back from that injury she sustained early on in the season. Already over a 400 hitting percentage on the season.
Anna Borer now at the service line. Mueller, another slide attempt over the top, long run for Rodriguez. Pierce sets her feet. From the back row, Antonio's push over to Bohr. Stuck up by McCabe. Near side, Pierce again, and back-to-back blocks by Lauren McCabe. She played great in her 2 first matches at home at Syracuse, and look at her get up there.
She did it at Seattle, where she was one of the best blockers in Red Hawks program history, and she's brought it to the ACC. That point all on her.
86 blocks last season, a Seattle record in a single season. She's the only player in Red Hawk history to start all 78 matches of her 4-year career.
And Syracuse can use that experience right now, especially one of the key players on this Orange team who not only has experience, but has experience playing in that role in the front line.
Little wet spot there for the Hokies. You see Greta Schlichter's family in attendance. Also, Greta Schlichter on the service line. Syracuse down 3, and set number 1. Back to the top of the rotation for the Orange. Their jump float, that one dove, miscommunication in the back line for Virginia Tech. Point Syracuse.
And her family absolutely loves it because that's an energy play for the Orange. A stoppage in play, you get a point, you follow it up with another one. You have to start to get a run going.
Starting to string along some points. Bohr's quick set in the middle, and we haven't seen her yet. Kara Lewis, she can jump with the best of them. Top 5 in the ACC right now in hitting percentage.
Yes, the best on this Hokies team, and you saw the vert that she got there, but again, when you're smacking it right at Shirley and Antonio, you want to try to direct it anywhere but her direction.
Lauren McCabe having some footwork troubles. Court a little slick today. A lot of bodies inside the women's building. One-hand touch. Nice job by Mueller to catch the Hokies lacking.
Almost just dunked it over top. Not with the most power, but just great direction. No man's land. Got a piece of it, but really savvy from the usual setter.
That's what they call a campfire, when everybody's looking around and the ball drops right in the middle. Near side again, and had a lot of success Virginia Tech has, regardless if it's Pierce or if it's Manuel Duran on this near side.
That's the only source of offense right now for Virginia Tech, and obviously that's what you want to be, right? Setting up your outside hitters, but when they're not going, they've been silent.
Rodriguez, the New York native, but we did mention her time with the national team, and there's Zaria Harris-Waddy, who, when she was home against Iowa and Morgan State, was playing great, but at the start of conference play, she's came back down to earth a little bit.
That's expected, right? Against somebody who was supposed to be a high-end backup for this team as a freshman, has played almost every set.
Long set over to Manuel Duran, tipped by Searzan, misdirection, and will be a 3-hit violation on Syracuse.
Syracuse does really like what they have, though, in Harris-Waddy. She was a really good player in South Jersey and is going to be a great player for this team, getting valuable reps on a squad that needs a win right now.
She had 8 kills in both matches against UAlbany and Cornell, hitting a high percentage. Just the errors have racked up. That's not going to be an error right there for Veronica Searzan. On the far side, the usual setter needs to play out of position, and she's really starting to find her groove on the outside. Go-to option now, Shirlene Antonio, Dominican Republic native. A hard serve. Bohr's back set coming out on the slide to perfection with Sydney Peterson.
Peterson got it done in a Mountain West with Nevada. Her second year here with Virginia Tech. You mentioned the amazing accolade, just splits both Schlichter and Harris-Waddy in the front row.
Peterson, and now 3 ACC matchups so far, has 8 or more kills, trying to add to that total here today. High set, Searzan stuck up, and that was all Haley Pierce for the Hokies.
Great block. Syracuse tried to attempt the fake out with Harris-Waddy on the far side of a court, but not fooled. That's defense to a T.
Manuel Duran, the 4-point Hokie lead. Back set again, Searzan gets her number called again. Dupre ran into that one and dots the back line. What a play in the back row by Elena Dupre.
Syracuse has gone silent. Virginia Tech has found, I think, more cohesion on the offensive end, and Coach Bake understands that and has to call a timeout.
Virginia Tech growing their lead to 5 now. Timeout on the floor, and this gives us a great opportunity to talk about that one notable alumni that's now on the coaching staff, Polina Shimanova.
Yeah, you can see Polina directing traffic and talking it over with Coach Bake there. And for a Syracuse team that is struggling right now with injury, she plays a great role not only as a teacher, but as really a director of how to do things within this program, an All-American who's training to play at the professional level in Atlanta next year, and she gets out there on the court and is a teacher.
Yeah, she's a huge part of their practice plan. It's helping her prepare for her own season, but those accolades, man, do they speak for themselves. Over 1,800 kills in her illustrious career with the Orange, and just loves this program so much, and is an example every single day for this young squad on how to go about your day, go about practice, and how that can pay dividends when you're playing matches like this in conference.
She just connects with these players so well. A lot of them were her former teammates. Others, when they were in the commitment process, looked at her and said, I want to be you down the line, and now they're being coached by her. So it's got to be a surreal moment and really a great asset in a transition year for this team.
Great dynamic presence, having that from just a year ago experience as a player and now on the coaching ranks. Very impressive stuff for Shimanova as she will go down to Atlanta, Georgia in just a few months to begin her professional career here in the U.S.
Her transition to playing volleyball in the U.S. a lot smoother than her transition to director of operations. She told Coach Bake, I don't like working in an office.
That it's difficult. Didn't know how all this went into it. It looked like it was almost tipped. It was not. All out of play, and it almost looked like head coach Marcy Byers could have played that one on the far side.
Hey, a player herself back in the day with Virginia Union, a 4-year starter. She can get it done.
Continuing to grow the Hokie lead. Well, Durant. Long side over to Schlichter, just a roll shot. Borer, back set, dots it again, and Antonio and Liedermuller. Some miscommunication, I think, in the back row, and sometimes that's going to happen when you have players that haven't really had a lot of time with one another.
The only bright spot is a lot of the players who've been hurt for Syracuse have been hurt for the entirety of the year, so they have had a chance to gel, but it still hasn't been natural.
Schlichter, another hit attempt, sprawling out to the floor. Antonio put everything into that one and almost went out of the gym.
Antonio, a bit too much mustard, like you said, but give credit to Greta Schlichter. Instantly blocked at the net, but she lays out underneath the net to keep it alive.
So at one point in time was a back-and-forth matchup early on in the first set. Now a 6-0 scoring run. And a long run for Schlichter somehow gets it over and has to get back to her front row position. Haley Pierce, another kill for the Hokies, and what a presence for this team in her first full match back from injury.
And you see it, the offensive numbers are going through the roof for Virginia Tech right now. A hitting percentage of .430 through this first set, and Syracuse just doesn't have the power to go blow for blow.
Picking apart the Syracuse team defensively. Almost a 10-point lead now. Syracuse will get the ball back. Down 8.
Virginia Tech not only dominating when getting it to the pins and getting it to their big hitters, but also digging the ball out really well, too, compared to Syracuse. Only 6 digs compared to 15 for VT.
Harris Waddy, the best servers on this team, but now 0 for 2 in her opportunities at the service line, and it's set point for Virginia Tech.
She's still trying to find her touch there, right? She had 4 service aces a couple matches ago against Virginia in a row, but tonight she's had a few service errors.
Chance now for Sierra Cates to wrap it up and have the Hokies with a 1-0 advantage. It's a sophomore defensive specialist from California. One of 3 players on this Virginia Tech team with exactly 12 aces so far this season. Liedermuller, back set, Searzan trying to go over the top, and the finesse game so far for Syracuse has paid dividends in comparison to the normal hitting approach.
That's the approach this team has to take. Without many of its big hitters and big-time transfers out, they're not going to beat you with raw power.
Syracuse with the set on the line. Long run for Bohr. Near side Pierce, blocked by McCabe. In the back row again, Dupre, dug out by Melina Brooking. The push, too much on it by Lauren McCabe, and a back-and-forth match was all Hokies towards the end, and it's a 9-point. We'll get us set to go again. She just hit the 1,000 assists marker earlier this year against Delaware State. She's just a sophomore. Antonio mistimes the jump, still got it over. Rodriguez's bump set over to Pierce, and man, is she feeling good right now for the Hokies.
Doesn't get much easier than that for Virginia Tech. That's just offense that's really well executed and just hits it straight into a line in the back left corner.
Quick tempo for Virginia Tech. They said that was part of their game plan going in, utilizing their size, but also up-tempo against Cuse. Antonio, another hard hit, and the errors have started to rack up after her dominant performance against Notre Dame. 19 kills, 4 errors. She's had 25 kills and 26 errors in her last 2 matches.
You mentioned the tempo that Virginia Tech has played with. We talked to Coach Byers in the week, and she said it was Syracuse who was playing with more tempo, and you see it, her team has matched it.
We're seeing one of those transfers for the first time, and she just got stuffed in the middle. That was Layla Smith, transfer from Alabama, coming back from injury, and we also saw Raina Hughes. She is currently on the sidelines. I don't know if she will come in today. We did not receive word pregame. Long run, and didn't have to as it was off the head. Charlene Antonio, the first point for Cuse in set number 2.
It can't be understated how big these mid-season additions, as Smith comes right off the floor, they're going to want to manage her. Could be for Syracuse, the most experienced middle this team has, making her debut here tonight.
One was hit hard by Alyssa Burt, and the serve and pass game has been difficult so far for Syracuse. Already now with 5 service errors. In a game like this against another team towards the bottom of the conference, those are the easy parts of the game that you don't want to let slip through your fingertips.
If you can't set and you can't pass, like Coach Bakir Ganesh-Ratnam told us earlier in the week, then where are you going to be at?
Name of the game. Over the top, Harris Waddy. Just a push by Dupre. Back in system. Antonio ran into that, and they were saying violation on Syracuse. Originally, I thought it was on Alyssa Burt for the set. It was not. The Hokies will get it regardless. Olivia Engel. A hard hit. Antonio hammers that one, large spot in the middle of the floor. The Hokies just got exposed of.
Antonio, with her 4th kill, nobody else on Syracuse has more than 2. And she's just going to continue to beat you with the raw power that she has.
Set number 1, Virginia Tech hit over 40%. Syracuse still under 10%, where their season average hovers around.
Against Pittsburgh on Sunday, that number was in the negatives because the errors piled up for the Orange.
Leader Mueller, the ball back down 3. Hard hit again, Rodriguez with more miscommunication in the back row for Virginia. Leader Mueller gets the ace.
Virginia Tech builds this comfortable lead, but like Coach Byers was telling us, the average set score nowadays, 25-22. Things will change course.
You know, things will always go down to the wire. Another hard serve, and Leader Mueller just missed that one for back-to-back aces.
The game of inches, and momentum swings just like that in this sport. And imagine back-to-back service aces. Would have been a huge jolt of energy.
Rodriguez trying to make up for that off the top of the tape. Quick set in the middle. Harris Waddy almost overpowered Bohr. In system and over the top. Leader Mueller, you could tell, almost an awkward place to serve that volleyball, and she gets called for the violation.
She is an extremely talented young player, but you got to remember, just a year ago, she was in Germany playing for the U20 team. So, still getting accustomed to this whole college volleyball.
Searson with the fastball. Nice hit on the near side by the Savannah, Georgia native.
She has been very active tonight. And again, playing in a role that she did not play in throughout her high school career at outside hitter. She has been very consistent tonight.
Yeah, dynamic so far this season with over 60 assists and now 45 kills. Charlene Antonio with now the 7th service error for Cuse.
And you said, Veronica Searson from Savannah, Georgia, but she's wanted to be a part of the Orange for a long time. Both her parents, student athletes here at Syracuse, and fulfilling a lifelong dream and could potentially help turn this program around.
You don't hear that a whole lot. People from down south saying Syracuse is your dream school, but we'll take it, that's for sure. McCabe, set by Borg, back row, Dupre. She's had a lot of success from that area. Now it's Antonio from the back row. Dupre digs it out. That was a beautiful set by Borer. And the timing between Borer and Manuel Duran is picture perfect.
Usually when the Hokies have had success tonight, it's not surprising, Griffin, that the name Borer has appeared right before it. She is one of the best setters in the conference, and she makes it look easy setting her teammates up.
Coming into today, 2nd in the ACC with over 10 assists per set. Borer again, over to Peterson, tried to hit that one with her left hand and never went over top of the net, so a 3-hit violation, giving it back to Syracuse.
This set, you could see it. Coach Byers can feel the momentum, at least getting somewhat in Syracuse's control after a strong start to the set. The Hokies can't pull away.
And here's Waddy. Already talked about her struggles from the service line today, but on the season still leading the team with 19 aces. Nice serve there. Or on the slide, Peterson. That is a cheat code on the slide attempt for the former middle from Nevada.
She just has such a clean windup. When she gets to her spots and she uncorks that right arm, there's nothing that stops her.
Might be double jointed. I don't know how her arm moves that way. Mueller's back set. Searzan stuck up by Peterson and Pierce.
Just too much size for Syracuse to handle. The 6'3" Pierce, the 6'1" Peterson. Textbook on the far side of the floor.
Timing on that, both jumping in sequence, making sure that their hands were shaded towards the middle of the court. Blocking 101. Coach Byers has to love that.
Another holdup in this game due to the conditions here from the women's building. A little slippery, and I think that's kind of hurt both teams in trying to grab momentum.
Well, you have to think when we were talking to Coach Ganesh Ratnam this week with the Terra Effects floor, might not be an issue next year. Trickery by Bohr. Still a chance for Syracuse. Unwinding was McCabe. Pierce hammered through. Antonio calls off Burt. Long run for McCabe and almost hit the ceiling. Back set. Both teams out of system right now. Until that hit. Haley Pierce. She also has her arm looking like Jell-O, winding all the way back for another Hokie kill.
That was the longest rally we've seen so far tonight. Pierce looking really good back from injury.
It's a 7-point Virginia Tech lead. We'll take a quick break here on the broadcast on ACC Network Extra. Early timeout for Syracuse due to impressive play by the Virginia Tech Hokies. Griffin Della Penna here alongside Ian Nicholas at the women's building. For Syracuse right now, you just have to try to side out. A big discrepancy, 72% for Virginia Tech and Syracuse at 42%, getting the ball immediately back. Want to see that around 60%. Anna Bohr kicks that one towards Lauren McCabe. I'm not sure if that was necessary, but Syracuse sides out. Maybe they heard me.
Just disappointed was Lauren after the 3-0 run snap. Syracuse tries to snatch the momentum back. We are courtside.
Great look. Previously, before the break, I did mention that we're going to have some upgrades inside the women's building next year with more seats on both sides. of the building. TerraFlex floor also installed. It's a big rendition for this program that will be extremely helpful in recruiting as well. Hard hit, Layla Smith stuck up, rejected in the middle by a middle, Kara Lewis.
And again, we talked about it. Just look at that. That's athleticism Syracuse has not had this year, but still athlete on athlete, one-on-one. It's not always going to shake your way.
Service error now for Virginia Tech. Right back to Syracuse, even though they have their score doubled right now. Down by 7. Schlichter coming back into the match and going to be the spark plug that she's been all season long. Syracuse has needed her most. Jump float serve. One-hand tip by Bohr. Antonio will just send it over after 2 hits. Mueller, another hit by Smith. Still looking for her first kill. Antonio tip off the block. Bohr on the slide. Another hard hit. Saw the blocking display by Lewis, and another kill for the senior.
Lewis, somebody that Coach Byers said does not get enough credit, not only for her athletic ability, but for her leadership and her positivity. In search of their first ACC win, she's played a big role.
Something about her playing Syracuse. She had 11 kills last year, team high, and wow. Back-to-back kills now for Lewis.
Former Maryland Terrapin, Maryland born and raised, and just swings it towards the far side of the floor where nobody could hit it.
Dad actually played volleyball, or excuse me, basketball. She plays volleyball at Maryland. A lot of athletic families on this Hokie team with parents playing Division I sports, and go back to another timeout on the Syracuse side. They're really being tested right now in a different Virginia Tech team.
You know, Syracuse can use a break here because you're down double-digit points in the middle of the second set. Your young players need a moment to connect, and players that already have a good connection, both Greta Schlichter and Mira Liedermuller.
Now look at these two German players coming over to play NCAA college volleyball, but having that dynamic aspect of playing many years previously with one another on the German national team.
They played both on the U16 team. They didn't grow up in the same area of the country. Greta is from Northwest Germany and Mira is from Southeast Germany, but just connected because they're both really good and they had an opportunity to play together at the highest stage, and now they have the opportunity to do it again. And to have both of them living together, communicating together, and it's not easy to make the transition from Germany to the United States, but those two are going to be big pieces to the puzzle in getting some more wins in the future for Syracuse.
Moving forward, some foundational pieces. That is the name of the game right now for Syracuse, is to build a winning culture, to have players who are going to buy in every single day, every single practice. This is a team that Coach Ganesh Rotnam said his 5-year plan has had to change a little bit due to the injuries and just some of the unfortunate circumstances that the Orange find themselves in so far this season, but they're sticking to the script in that regard of they want to be a gritty team that teams will fear in the ACC moving forward. Long set coming out of the timeout. Bohr on the far side to Pierce. Pierce dotting the floor all over the court, and Syracuse has no answer for the freshman.
They probably don't have an answer for her because she's barely been in a lineup. Her first match since the second match of the year for Virginia Tech, and she leads the team in attack attempts.
Dynamic offense for the Hokies showing in conference play. Dug out by Rodriguez. High hit, Lewis trying to get her 3rd kill of the set. Bohr again to Lewis. Antonio trying to close it. Another long volley, jousted at the net. Syracuse still with a chance. Antonio. Coming back in, and that's when a freshman utilizing her strength as a power hitter just going up. I don't need 3 hits. I'll just do it in 1.
It has not been the prettiest tonight for Virginia Tech, but the natural talent of Coach Byers' crew is definitely showing through, and it's showing through Pierce.
Mueller back set, trying to go to Smith, and she has been rejected time after time because Pierce and Lewis in the middle are a dynamic blocking duo.
Now things are really getting out of hand for Syracuse in a game where, in a matchup they've dominated as of late, Virginia Tech has come out swinging on the road.
Smith sending it over the top of the block. Pierce's roll shot, no good. Syracuse can take a sigh of relief. Down 14. As you could tell, they really just needed some type of break.
Multiple runs in this set for Virginia Tech that have been 5+ points in a row for the Hokies. A 6-0 run snatch there, but again, another break in the action, another flip of possession, and more cleanup duty on aisle 9.
Have to look at the hitting percentage discrepancy between both programs. Virginia Tech hitting right around 35%. Syracuse at 0 right now. 11 kills, 11 errors. On the other side for the Hokies, 23 kills in comparison just to 5 errors.
Virginia Tech has cooled down in terms of efficiency in this set, but it hasn't stopped them from racking up the points.
Dupre. Hit by Searson. One-hand dig, not enough on it by Rodriguez, and back-to-back points for Syracuse.
These are the moments where this orange team starts to find its identity, right? When the going gets tough and the odds are stacked against you, can you find a way to put it in a difficult spot and challenge a Virginia Tech team to close you out and get a second set victory?
Searson and Antonio now tied for the team lead with 4 kills. On the other side, Haley Pierce has doubled them with 8. Another long wait for Alyssa Burt. She gets the whistle to send it over. Bohr running into that was Pierce, and Greta Schlichter was in that back corner, but it dotted right in front of her. Nothing that she could do there.
No, although she was in the vicinity, as we get one more look here, just in a tough spot to really make anything out of it. Got low, but had to get a little bit lower to dig it out.
Virginia Tech is not liking this floor.
No, and you know, it's a quick game already, so why not slow it up a little bit?
It's just interesting because they loved their tempo early on in the second set, and you don't want to force any injuries, but also you want to continue to apply that pressure that's gotten you out to this huge lead. Mueller over to Antonio. Somehow Rodriguez kept that up. Long run for Mueller. Back to Antonio, and out of play on the line approach. Actually, they're going to say a tip on Dupre.
Syracuse catches a bit of a break there. You know, Sherilyn Antonio has been option A, B, and C offensively tonight. 24 of 64 attack attempts to the former JUCO transfer. Hasn't been as efficient as usual. Still with a team high 3.6 kills per set, well under that average here today. Athletic play in the air, sprawling her body was Kara Lewis for a pretty athletic kill, I must say.
No, this Virginia Tech team has done a really solid job with recruiting raw athletes with a lot of upside and grabbing players from other programs that might not have gotten the opportunity they deserved or been in the biggest of conferences. And a former Maryland transfer in her second year with the team has been really good.
Big Ten and ACC Volleyball, two of the best conferences in the country, and that was touched by Bohr. So Searson, after Antonio got her 5th kill, she joins her. Down by 11. Syracuse is trying to build some momentum in the back half of the second set. Both programs currently 0-4 in conference play, riding some losing streaks as of late.
Both teams with 8-game ACC losing streaks headed into tonight's match.
Antonio. Serve and wow. Swinging away, Leandra Manuel Duran, we talked about her in the Open, but because of Lewis and Dupre, she's kind of taken a backseat offensive approach.
Although she doesn't have the attempt numbers that those two have, her efficiency has been something to watch tonight. 8 for 12? You're not supposed to be able to do that, especially this late in the year with ACC opponents on the other end.
She's on double-double watch right now with 6 digs. It's double-digit kills as well. Amanda Dupre. Mueller, another back set, trying to go to the hot hand of Searson, and you can tell some frustration on her face as still getting used to that approach of, am I going to try to hammer it through the double block? Am I going to go over the top? Still just taking some time. Mueller near side and going through the block that time was Lauren McCabe. Something about playing here inside the women's building, even though it's just been 3 games so far, McCabe loves it.
Nothing is better than being back in the women's building. A great crowd, the Syracuse band. Not the result yet for the Orange that they want, but the home crowd hasn't disappointed.
Still on set point. There's Waddy. To Boris, slide attempt, Peterson. You could read that one like a book, and Lauren McCabe did. She knew it was coming and rejected Peterson right in her tracks.
That wind-up, while efficient so far tonight, is you can almost time it up in a way, where it takes a little while to get into, and Syracuse perfectly nails that block.
That will do it in set number 2. Virginia Tech Hokies up 2-0. Trying to get another that like for this team, and starting out your season 10-0. That's the best in program history. They're trying to match their season total from a year ago with 11 if they can hold on to this lead. That looks pretty good right now, starting off in the 3rd set, too.
She talked to us just a couple days ago and said the light is at the end of the tunnel, and this team needs to finally get that winning result. She has built up programs before. Just like Coach Bake did at Temple, she brought Radford to 2 NCAA tournaments, and she knows what her team needs right now, which is a win in the ACC column.
She wants her players to feel that again for how hard they've continued to work throughout the beginning of conference play. Antonio's 2-hand push. A lot of running around on the Virginia Tech side. Tip off the block. Somehow Schlichter kept that up. Antonio hitting straight down. Syracuse applying some pressure. Long hit over, hitting that right into the net was Manuel Duran. That was a big jolt of energy, you can already tell, for Syracuse starting out the 3rd set.
Virginia Tech extended this when they should not have. Somebody who we haven't talked about enough tonight, Ileana Rodriguez, but her efforts ultimately not enough as Syracuse gets a really big equalizer in the 2nd point of the set.
This is how the 1st set also started. Back and forth, a lot of ties, but didn't see a whole lot of that in set number 2.
Virginia Tech has had issues closing out opponents this season. They've already played 3 matches to 5 sets. Syracuse hasn't played 1.
And also hits the hardwood. Sarah Lewis continuing to build on her impressive night. Back to what you said, too, Ian, about this Syracuse team not playing deep into sets. So far, they've won or lost in 3 sets in 12 of their 14 matches. They had that win against Morgan State, their last home game here, but just trying to prolong and have some more impressive showings throughout an entire match. That's going to be the key, I think, for the rest of this season moving forward in conference play.
And ultimately, it's a numbers game, right? Because at the moment, this Orange team doesn't have enough players to practice 12 on 12. So can you really expect them to give them 100% in the 3rd set when you're physically and mentally drained?
Especially on these long road trip weekends, and Syracuse will get the ball back with a service error by the Hokies, because they played on the road just so much, especially against 2 ranked programs, number 5 Louisville in a 3-set loss in their last match in 3 sets to number 8 Pitt. For Duran, she hasn't been her usual self, but still hitting at a very high clip, right around 40% with her 8th kill.
Playing a different role for this Hokies team this year. First 4 years of her career was a backline player at Missouri, but second on his team in kills and first in hitting percentage among players with double-digit attempts tonight.
Dupre. Here's Charlene Antonio rejected again in the middle. This is not a blocking team for Virginia Tech, just under 2 blocks per set. You wouldn't really think that if you saw just this match today.
They know what's happening, right? They understand where the ball is going for Syracuse right now. It's Charlene Antonio with 27 attempts, the next closest player with 13, and that's why the block numbers are up.
First ace of the day goes to Alana Dupre. Dupre leads the team in kills, building on her season from a year ago.
Just mental errors starting to pile up for Syracuse right now.
Near side again. Here's another block by someone we've said a few different times so far. Sydney Peterson offensively but defensively making her presence known.
Earlier tonight, the Washington State native got her 1,000th career point and just very rock solid up front over the last 2 years for VT.
One's played by Burt. Back to Searson with the left hand. High hit by Schlichter. Almost called for the 2 hits, and Liedermuller, that was an awkward set. It wasn't a back set, it wasn't forward, it was almost on the side. Still gets the job done getting it to Antonio.
Just clanks off the tape and took a lot of power and velo off that shot, but ultimately it landed in the perfect spot on the far side of the court.
4-point Hokie lead, 6 for 28 right now, Charlene Antonio. That one looked like it was potentially going out. It was a tip off the block, so a difficult play for Antonio, and another kill for Leandra Manguel Duran as she goes to the service line.
And she's been battling through hardship herself with a bone bruise in her knee, but still putting up gaudy numbers, on pace for her 2nd straight game with double-digit kills.
She also gets an ace too, so now tied with Syracuse in that department. It's Duran, another one. Look at the movement on that ball.
Not been a game of service aces, only 2 per team.
High hit, Schlichter, her first hit in quite a while. Dupre almost dug out by Mira Liedermuller. Instead, the Hokies continue to build on that lead as it grows to 7.
Syracuse has not been back and forth in this game since early on in the first set. Virginia Tech had some offensive woes early, but they figured out everything they needed to.
Rio Grande, Puerto Rico native with now 2 aces in this string alone. It's been a game of runs for the Hokies and a timeout on the floor after another brilliant serve by the 5th-year transfer. 11-3 is her score. It's a statement right now for the Hokies. We'll send it to break here on ACC Network Extra. Back inside the women's building, it's been all Hokies here tonight against the Syracuse Orange. Already a 2-0 lead in the match, and pretty daunting deficit for Syracuse to try to come back from. Griffin Della Penna here alongside Ian Nicholas. Virginia Tech trying to also battle back the Orange for some of the Syracuse dominance as of late. They've won 6 of the last 7 meetings. With hits like that, Syracuse, they're going to make things interesting here late.
You've got nothing to lose right now if you're the Orange. Still in search of your first ACC win, being dominated in the 3rd set, turning to some different options. Melina Brooking getting some more action off the bench.
She appeared in just 1 rotation back in the 1st set. She's back playing for Syracuse. In the back row, Dupre overpowered, and Greta Schlichter actually didn't touch it. So great awareness there by the freshman, whose family is also in attendance all the way from Germany. They have to be pretty proud of their daughter here tonight. But she's been doing her thing, even though we would like to see Syracuse on the winning side. And hit over. Gabe sets it. Slide attempt now. The fifth year going cross court. Hard hit over. Not enough room on that one by Elena Dupre in the back row. And Syracuse back-to-back points again.
Syracuse off a timeout. Looks really good. A 3-0 scoring run where they're just clicking on all cylinders and playing with confidence and spunk.
First time today after Coach Gainish Rottenham has called a timeout that they've actually registered a point. Another block in the middle. That was the duo of Searson and McCabe. Syracuse on their first substantial scoring run of the night.
This is where Syracuse has struggled this year. When they've gotten behind, not only in the set itself, but in the scoreboard, they haven't responded. So to see the growth of a young team happen right in front of you, largest SU run of the game.
There's Waddy trying to finish off the string of 5 points. Hard hit by Peterson. She won't because that was beautifully executed by Sydney Peterson.
Again, it's been a lot of different options. 3 different players with at least 6 kills tonight for Virginia Tech. And Peterson more of a middle, but proving she can get it done even near the pins too.
Back in the hands of Sierra Cates. She closed out set number 1. Another slide by McCabe, and that was Haley Pierce coming into the third set. We had a whole highlight package just of her, not offensively, but defensively as number 3, now with 3 blocks.
Just so solid. Give her a lot of credit. She was probably itching for the opportunity to get back on the court in her freshman season, make an impact for a team that, yes, you said it got off to their best start in program history at 10-0, but has fallen on hard times since the start of ACC play, and she's provided a completely different look to this offense and defense.
Charlotte, North Carolina native is going to continue to have her number called throughout the rest of ACC play. Bump set near side. There's Pierce, and McCabe got the better of her that time. Play remains. Long run for Schlichter. Back row set. Antonio, and right through the double block. First time we've mentioned the name of Jasmine Robinson, overpowered in the middle.
And her teammates shoving her because they can't believe what Shirley Antonio does. Again, when you don't have those big-time hitters, especially Ariana Jobert, a late scratch in tonight's game, Antonio's impact is felt even more.
Searzant with the ace, and now back tied up in that department at 3. Came into this set, the 2-0 lead, and Monica Searzant making things interesting in set number 3. 3-ball attempt for Syracuse. See if they can take advantage. Lauren McCabe on the slide. Long run, and Greta Schlichter decides to bump it. Over the top, long run by Rodriguez for her 12th dig. Pierce harping on it again. Anytime Syracuse is out of position, she can hit up any spot on the floor.
She's playing not like a freshman right now. And for a program that, again, similar to Syracuse, is relying heavily on true freshmen this year, playing well beyond her years, it's cool to have power, right? Shirley Antonio has power, and she can get accurate, but the accuracy of Pierce right now, and the numbers too, 21 attempts and a hitting percentage over .330, you'll take that.
Syracuse still at a 5-point disadvantage in this set alone. Virginia Tech hitting about 17%. Syracuse still at 0. Got by Antonio, a 6th rotation player for the Orange. And a mental miscue for Greta Schlichter, and you can tell she wants that one back.
Yeah, she's not used to being the 3rd player to touch the ball in a set. She's used to being the maestro. But once again, this is a learning experience for her.
Anna Boer, it's been an impressive day for her. She sends that one out of play, but for Boer, the facilitator of the Virginia Tech offense, already with 27 assists. And she had 66 in a 5-set loss against Florida State.
She is one of the best setters in the conference, make no doubt about it.
Here's Boer again trying to side out. And it will be a point for the Hokies as How about the family of Elena Dupre? Her mom was a basketball player at UNC, one of the best players ever in Tar Heel history, and her dad, a former Iowa Hawkeye football player. I think that's going to make for some pretty good athletic genes.
Some families just get too lucky. I'm taller than both my parents, and I'm 5'7". Where's the athletic love there?
With the roof by Antonio almost going over the top of the net. It wasn't called. Syracuse to double digits now, making it a 5-point game again.
Just within reach are the Orange. They need another run if they want to legitimately steal a set from Virginia Tech.
Alyssa Bird, it hasn't been her night on the service line. An aggressive one there. Bohr on the outside. There's a great block by Antonio and Harris Waddy in the picture. And Syracuse currently ranked last in the conference in blocking, but I think they've actually been pretty impressive here tonight.
5 blocks for a Syracuse team, and Lauren McCabe, the leader, with 3 alone.
Trying to go over the top. Mueller lets it roll over. Antonio swinging away, tip off the block, and back-to-back points responsible for Charlene Antonio.
There is no better height woman on this Orange team than Alyssa Bird. I know you said it hasn't been her night, but she is the heart and soul of a squad right now that needs a lot of it. And she was so amped to see Antonio do her thing.
Very vocal leader for the Orange in her 5th year. That one also goes out. Virginia Tech was looking for a tip. Just making it a 2-point set now. Syracuse crawling back after down 11-3 when they took their initial timeout in the 3rd set.
There's the big run they needed, right? Multiple runs in this 3rd set, despite this team probably running on fumes of at least 4 points or more, and Virginia Tech is starting to get a little frustrated.
You could see the look. Head coach Marcy Byers not very pleased in the 3rd set, but you mentioned it. They've had some difficulty closing out sets in matches so far this season, and Syracuse trying to keep that to continue. Big ace there by Alyssa Burt. An awkward angle, and now another scoring run for the Orange as they're trying to tie things up.
Make it 5 points in a row. The Clemson game on Sunday, a 5-set loss. The non-conference closer, East Carolina, a 5-set loss. This is deja vu for the Hokies.
Bohr set over near side, trying to go to a reliable option. This place will erupt if Syracuse could get a point here. Back to Dupre, tip off the block. Schlichter is there. Antonio, dug out by Rodriguez. Schlichter again. Syracuse trying to build some momentum from the back row. And there's Veronica Searson, and we're tied up at 16.
Veronica Searson doing things she was not asked to do growing up in Savannah, Georgia. An elite setter, but an outside hitter that has made a game that looks like an outside chance for Syracuse to come back in his 3rd set a reality.
11-3 was the score, and now we're tied up at 16. An incredible run for Syracuse, and a lot of it is on the shoulders of Charlene Antonio.
She was such a huge get in the offseason for the Orange, somebody who grew up in the Dominican Republic and was on the junior national team. We've talked a lot about Greta Schlichter and Mira Liedermuller, but this is another young player, only a junior, who had the gaudy numbers at the JUCO level with Iowa Western, won a JUCO national championship, knows what it means to be a winner, but you see it. There's been teaching from Coach Bake right there, not just to her, but to this whole team, because Griffin, they've rarely been in this position late in games to compete blow to blow with an opponent this good.
And I think that goes to show the growth that Syracuse has had. You see her stats on the screen: 9 kills, 4 digs, a slow start for Antonio, who's trying to get back into double digits. 4th in the conference right now in kills per set, 5th in points, and this is exactly how Charlene Antonio has kept Syracuse in this match.
She's certainly been given the opportunity, right? Usually it's not from the back row, it's usually from near the pins, the little dunk there. 34 attempts tonight,
9 kills, now 34 over her last 3 games.
Syracuse currently leading Virginia Tech in hitting percentage right now at .83%. Virginia Tech at .08%. It's a lot of self-inflicted wounds right now for Virginia Tech. 8 kills, 6 errors, and Syracuse 6 kills, 4 errors. So kind of letting Virginia Tech almost will them back into this match. Virginia Tech gets it back. Rodriguez, nice bump set by Liedermuller, another hammer hit. And there's a tip, and Antonio gets her 10th kill.
That was beautiful. Liedermuller makes it look easy with the reversal and sets up Antonio to get right through that double team.
Great look on our net cam. Timeout on the floor. It's going to actually be due to the challenge. So they're going to see if that was initially tipped. Coach Byers, a very smart challenge, I think, here too, Ian, to try to stop the bleeding, because this point could mean a whole lot for Virginia Tech, just to try to string along some points as we've seen all night long.
It was night-night for Syracuse earlier on in his set. 11-3. Hokies led. Syracuse has gone on a 6-1 run. Everybody's dancing in here right now, but this could make it a much more serious feel from the women's building. Not entirely clear, even with all the great angles we've got. It's going to be tough to reverse, in my opinion.
Not having that conclusive evidence. Here's the over-the-top view, and that might get a fingertip.
You see it maybe grace the middle finger of Sydney Peterson on the far side of the screen. But it's difficult because you don't really see from that angle, does the ball's trajectory alter?
As we're looking things over, I just looked up at Virginia Tech, and with the 2-0 lead right now, they were just dancing, having a good time with the band. It looks like our call is officially been made. It's being relayed to our public address announcer, and after further review, they're going to say Virginia Tech. She made the initial look that it looks like I don't have anything, but must have been enough to have the reversal. And Coach Bakir Ganesharatnam can't believe it.
Yeah, he's not dancing.
No.
He's the only one that's like, what's going on here? And it was a little confusing there, but that's a huge swing in favor of Virginia Tech. They're feeling good. They caught a break. This team has not caught a lot of breaks this season, especially late in games, so you'll take that and run with it, but now you got to capitalize on it and close this thing out if you're the Hokies.
Keep that one in the back of your mind. Instead of 17-all, it's a 2-point Virginia Tech lead with the ball. Rodriguez coming out of the break. She makes Syracuse pay with another service ace for the Hokies.
Haven't said Ileana Rodriguez's name enough tonight. One of the best players on this team, one of 2 grad transfers from St. John's.
Already has multiple degrees, trying to get some more with Virginia Tech as a 5th year. They're set by Bourne near side, and Searson thought that one was going to go out of play. Instead, goes right by her shoulder and hits the back line.
Don't blame her. That's as on the line as it gets, and you said it. Now it's not in the back of anybody's mind. It's at the forefront. Virginia Tech on a 4-0 run, just 5 points away from its first ACC win of the year.
Well, we just saw that kill registered by Leandra Manguel Duran. See her on our screen there, our highlight player coming into this match, and she's had herself a fine day. 10 kills and 20 attempts.
The best player on the court tonight for, I'd probably say, either team when you look at it. 10 kills, tied for most on the Hokies with Pierce. But her hitting efficiency at 45%, and we can't stress it enough. She's making playing out of position look so easy as a backline player over the first 4 years of her collegiate career.
Very dynamic as well, with 2 service aces, 7 digs, and 2 blocks. So doing everything as a 6 rotation type player. Formerly, like we mentioned, the 4-year player at Mizzou, a defensive specialist that racked up over 660 digs with the Tigers, and then coming here taking a much different role. Another transition that is not easy to do, especially at the Power 5 level in a conference like the ACC. The Hokies have a good one with Manuel Duran.
It's a shame that they're only going to have her for one season, because when we talked to Coach Marcy Byers, she said you're either in the transfer portal game or you're out of it. And I'm usually looking for players that can stick around for more than one season. But Rodriguez and Manuel Duran, not those players.
Rodriguez, that one hits the floor. So another service ace. Didn't have many going into the second set. Since then, the service line has been a key contributor for the Hokies trying to close out this match.
Control what you can control.
Another hard one anticipated to Slichter, and over top of Harris Waddy. Difficult place for Liedermuller to set that one without getting a net violation.
No, both players, both true freshmen, in a tough spot there, and I give them credit. They're still communicating about what went wrong there.
All after the challenge, Virginia Tech has taken full advantage, going on a 6-0 scoring run. Dug out by Slichter. Antonio right down, but Rodriguez is there. Another hard hit, tip, but Searson with the dig. Solo block, Sydney Peterson making it a 7-0 Hokie run.
That might be the nail in the coffin for Virginia Tech, who can sniff that first ACC win since midway through last season. It could have been 17-17. A potential kill from Shirley Antonio, wiped off the board after a terrific challenge from the coach you see right there. And Marcy Byers, and that call proved pivotal to swinging the momentum here in the third set. And barring a miracle, Virginia Tech is finally going to wipe out that 0 in the ACC win count.
Coach Byers still not satisfied until that final whistle blows. Had a game face on right there. The battles will pay off and work out. Her team's been working as hard as anybody. Just wants them to get back in the win column and feel what it's like to be on top of the team in conference play. We'll have to wait just a little bit longer. Mira Liedermuller has the ball currently down by 6. Bohr, great timing on that one. Quick tempo in the middle to Sydney Peterson. As we're now at match point.
Peterson's numbers don't necessarily stand out from today's game, but when the Hokies have needed her, she's shown up.
That was a great cut shot. You could see she hit it on the outside of her hand and swung in. Syracuse still has a little something left. Service error by Lana Dupre in the hands of the player that Syracuse would probably wanted in the most, and Charlene Antonio.
Syracuse now an opportunity to rebound back at home against Wake Forest.
Off the top of the tape, Bohr, the swing, and right in between, Sydney Peterson back-to-back kills, and that will do it. The Hokies, after 8 straight losses in conference play, they get their first of the year and snap a previous 5-game losing streak.
Both these teams came into tonight with 8